Okay, so it seems that there's been even more going on with the Streamer Awards at the moment, specifically to do with Dokibird. Now, I'm going to make a video talking about some of the other nominations and people being excited about that, but for now, I kind of wanted to dive into the Dokibird stuff because it seems like she's made a couple more posts talking about the situation, which has been very, very interesting considering all of the drama that has been going on surrounding the organizer, QTCinderella, and even more that have been kind of doing stuff. And I think it's been a pretty insane situation overall. Now, if you don't know, if you want a little bit of a catch-up, obviously I covered this in my previous video, but essentially the Streamer Awards, yeah, they had some nominations for a category for Best Marvel Rivals Streamer. Now, this is sponsored by Marvel Rivals. This is a category that is supposed to go to the best, or the nominees for the best Marvel Rivals Streamer, with all of these people being nominated. Big Puffer, Boga, Flats, Super TF, and Tim the Tatman. Now, obviously, some of these people do deserve to be on this list, right? And I'm sure a lot of these people have played the game quite a bit. But I think one thing that, Dokibird was a little bit unhappy about, which she actually expressed on her page, was the fact that, she has streamed so many hours and done so much for Marvel Rivals, and she doesn't even get a kind of look in. It's absolutely crazy. And also the fact that a lot of people were pointing out that, some of the biggest streamers for Marvel Rivals were not even included in this kind of list, including Necros, who's at the very top here with 301,000 watch hours. Now, just to put this in perspective as well with Dokibird and how annoying this is for Dokibird, Dokibird has over 500,000 hours. That's more than the top streamer on here at the moment, right? And I think that is pretty crazy that she wasn't even considered for a Marvel Rivals kind of, nomination, right? And also, a lot of you guys were letting me know in the comments that essentially, I was unsure on how much Dokibird advertised her, kind of going for this award. Apparently, she has been advertising it quite a lot, but also a lot of other people, including like Iron Mouse, obviously another big VTuber, have also been, obviously promoting her and saying, hey guys, vote for Doki for best Marvel Rival streamer. And that seems to be the case for a lot of kind of people as well within the Streamer Awards. For other awards too, it seems like they have a massive effort to kind of get people to vote for them, but it ends up, for some reason, they don't get included, right? And obviously some people blame this on, oh, maybe your community isn't good enough, maybe your community doesn't vote for you enough. But honestly, I just don't think that is the case. I feel like Dokibird and a lot of the VTuber community are very, very, dedicated, and they will work to make them kind of win their award, right? But again, obviously that is doesn't seem to be the case at the moment. And obviously, yeah, Dokibird has actually kind of talked about this on her page recently, which is what I wanted to cover. Essentially, her saying, people try to blame my community, saying my community didn't show up or that it's my community's fault. Please stop. As you do not know the Dragoons or my community, they're the most passionate, talented and dedicated group of fans that I could ever ask for, and have been with me through my lowest and highest points in my career. I would always fight for my fans, as they have fought for me many times. Nothing got me more rage baited when I saw randoms leaving comments saying it was the Dragoons' fault. My sadness about the silly nomination thing was already gone, but I was getting rage baited left and right when I saw random people trying to blame my Dragoons, and it was just like, oh. And people saying, yeah, please don't blame QT man. She literally has no stake in who wins or loses. She said this multiple times. She said, I never said anything about the organizers, as implying the random comments I was getting on my tweet. So yeah, obviously, a lot of people have been pinning this on QTCinderella for how much she has been kind of orchestrating a lot of the Streamer Awards. And I'm pretty sure, I think we all know that this is essentially the LA Streamer Awards. There's a lot of people out there who would have got a lot of votes, right? Who essentially haven't been added, including your Asmongold's, your Hassans, and people like that. Again, I don't really care what, which guy you like, right? But, it is very, very obvious that neither of them got kind of selected for any of that. And I don't think that was due to not enough votes. It probably, to be fair, this time around, it probably was due to the fact of, they don't really care about it. But, I'm sure some of them would have voted, especially Hassan's audience, right? Would have voted for it because they do actually care about it. Asmongold's a little bit different. I feel like his audience were already kind of checked out of the awards in general. But Hassan's audience definitely, I do think, would have been trying to vote for him for one of the kind of nominations at least. But he wasn't included, which I think was pretty interesting, right? And there's been multiple clips as well coming out of her like crying about it and stuff like that. Which is pretty insane. And obviously, yeah, she says here to do with, why problematic streamers weren't nominated, and this is what she said about it.
Somebody said, are problematic people blackballed from getting nominated? No, they've just never nominated. Turns out their audience doesn't show up. I think when people have like a crazy audience or whatever, you know, I don't see Jack Doherty's audience voting for him. I just don't.
Which, yeah, it's what she had to say about it. Essentially saying that, yeah, the audience doesn't show up, which is exactly what Dokibird was talking about, saying like, hey, people saying my community didn't show up. And again, she isn't classed as a problematic streamer or anything, but still, I think that could also apply to a lot of other streamers as well that aren't problematic as to why they did win is because they didn't show up, which I do think is pretty insane, considering a lot of QTCinderella's close friends are are nominated for multiple awards, right? People like Vanilla Mace and KTB and that, they've all been nominated for, you know, a lot of awards, which I think if this wasn't her show and, you know, she wasn't the one running it, I don't think they would have had any chance whatsoever. I'm going to be honest, in terms of some of the categories that they were nominated for. And I do think it is pretty insane, you know, how much they have been nominated over other people who definitely deserve it. You know, I'm not saying that, you know, obviously her friends, you know, didn't deserve it at all and they're a terrible student. No, that's not the case, right? But I do think there has been a little bit of bias played into some of the nominations in terms of like, hey, can we just add my friend in there real quick? Because I want them to come to the event and I want them to, you know, win an award or something like that, which again, I do think is pretty insane. And a lot of people have been calling this out, including people like Asmongold and stuff like that, right? Who's even like wagered like 100,000 to show him exactly, you know, how the nominations are done and, you know, to prove that there is no kind of rigging behind the votes, because again, you know, everybody wants to know, and he's wagered 100K behind that, you know, $100,000, saying, okay, show me it and I'll give you $100,000 if it does turn out to be legitimate, right? And again, we haven't had any response to that yet. Maybe we will in the future, but again, I feel like we're not going to get a response, and you know, that kind of speaks volumes about how the you know, nomination system works, because if it really was that genuine and that honest of just like, it's just how many people voted on it and that's it, right? Well, obviously you would have no problem in showing how the system works and how everything was kind of decided. But, you know, obviously it seems like they are pretty reluctant to, at least at the moment, right? They might go ahead and do it later on, I'm unsure. Also, I made this tweet as well recently, saying essentially this is something that happens every single year, because it does. It happens every single year with the Streamer Awards, and as I say, Streamer Awards roll around, QT leaves deserving nominees out and adds her friends. People dislike it, obviously. She cries on stream about the hate, and then Ludwig tweets something like, hey guys, can we stop being mean? And then, yeah, I just said quit crying and just cancel it. Because, again, if you're getting this emotional over it, you know, and if this is happening like every single year, right? I mean, surely you should just cancel it. Surely you should just give up. Because if you're going to get so emotional every single year about the hate that comes with it, I mean, you know, I don't think it's worth doing, right? And I do think at the same time as well, it's one of these things where, you know, obviously you're going to get hate. You know, obviously lots of people are going to be unhappy with not being picked and things like that. Even if you did this in the most genuine kind of voting fashion possible, I think anybody is going to hate on it because their favorite streamer didn't get in. And that's something you got to prepare for as a streamer, or as, sorry, not as a streamer, more as an organizer that is going in and actually, you know, creating this event and running this event. You should be aware, fully aware and fully prepared to be like, okay, we are going to get a lot of hate from this, but again, just don't take it too personally. But it seems like every single year she takes it too personally and she starts getting crazy about stuff, which I think obviously is absolutely insane. Obviously, Dokibird then clears up some stuff as well, saying, just wanted to be clear, there's a bit of a misunderstanding, but I'm talking about the random people leaving comments on my on replies and my tweets, trying to antagonize my Dragoons and my community, and it's really irked me that people were going after my fans. I have no ill will towards the organizers, since I know managing such a big event is a headache in itself, and can only imagine how much stress they're going through daily, day by day for it. So please don't send them any hate, because someone you wanted didn't get nominated. There will always be winners and losers. It's an award show after all, which, yeah, I do think is true. But also at the same time, you know, she's talking about the fact that, hey, you know, a lot of random people are going after, you know, her Dragoons and her community and stuff, right? And going after them specifically, saying that they weren't doing good enough. But the thing is, the lead organizer is also saying that, right? Obviously, you know, I don't think Dokibird was meaning to go after QT or anybody like that, or the organizers of the event whenever she made that initial post. And 100%, I don't think she kind of meant that, right? But, you know, whenever, you know, the shoe fits, it kind of, speaks a lot of, volumes about how the event is run, right? Because, again, a lot of people are associating it with QTCinderella because she is someone who has literally said that your community is not doing good enough if you don't get voted in, if you don't get nominated. It's not just these random fans, and this is getting elevated even further with these random people saying that your community didn't do good enough because QT is then telling them, oh, they didn't do good enough, which then sends them to their posts, to their Twitter posts or whatever, to say that they didn't do good enough, and that's when you get those comments, right? So it always starts from like a root, and obviously this root is the organizer of the literal event. Obviously, yeah, Doki Bird, I'm not expecting her to go and go, yeah, QTCinderella said this and she sucks right now. Obviously not, because, you want to keep a good kind of, rapport with other streamers, right? But, I do think, a lot of this does boil down to what QT's been saying about other streamers and them not getting nominated, and then people have obviously amplified this and said, hey, your community's not good enough, which I think is pretty ridiculous, right? And they say, I saw a lot of Dragoons sad yesterday, it was thinking it was their fault, and it's not. You guys already did so much for me, and it's okay. I'm just happy you're all here, there for my journey. You guys have been with me through so much, and I usually never get baited to make statements or make a response, but when people go after you guys, it really sets something off inside of me. Anyway, this will be my last tweet about this thing because I want to go back to my regular dumb antics. So yeah, obviously, that's her kind of responding to it. And I do think, I don't think Dokibird had any intent to go after the organizers of the event or anything like that. That wasn't the case. But I do think, obviously, a lot of people were drawing that conclusion due to the fact of how much QT has been kind of bashing people's communities and stuff, saying that they're not doing good enough, to kind of get a nomination. And obviously, many people have been angered by that at the moment. But yeah, that's essentially a full update on what is really going on with this whole Dokibird, QT Streamer Awards situation. I just thought I'd give you guys an update because, again, there was a couple of posts like this that were coming out, and obviously I'm sure some of you guys are Dokibird fans maybe felt like, you let her down or something like that. You didn't let her down, it's fine. At the end of the day, it's a silly award show that, obviously, as we know, has been very, very much dictated by friends, especially over the past couple of years, and that is just how it goes, and I think a lot of people have kind of gotten used to that by now. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go to Game Subs, use my code KAZA, get 10% off. Again, they've got a ton of really cool stuff over there. Definitely recommend checking it out, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.